Alright, it's cold out here. Anyways. Looks pretty. I wish I'd gotten pictures of it earlier, but when I was coming up the road from work today, it was all dark blue back there. And then with the sun shining on the golden grass and the dark blue background, it was beautiful. It really was. It was beautiful. Anyways, so this is going to be just a little vlog about fleas. Not animal care 101, because it kind of differs depending on what animal you have. So I might do like individual how to take care of fleas for different animals, but right now we're just going to talk about fleas, and it was on my cat. So as you know, I have an indoor cat, Imp, and I have a barn cat, Gabby. And Imp and Gabby don't get along at all. They don't like each other. Gabby will intentionally come up to the window searching for my cat to antagonize her. I don't know why he does it, but he does. And she does not like him at all. But she likes to come outside. So I'm assuming that she got the fleas from Gabby. At some point they had a fight or something when I let her out. And so she got fleas. And when I noticed, I don't know exactly when it was that I noticed or something, it wasn't right away for sure, but I noticed that she had fleas, and I want to say I dived off the deep end a little bit, but not really. So what I did is I went ahead and I shut poor Imp in my bedroom. And she was not allowed to go through the rest of the house and spread flea eggs around. Now, I had some, treatment to put on her. And I put some of that on her. Unfortunately, that treatment, I had 2 different kinds. And so the first one that I used was the last of the stuff that I had. And it wasn't any good. It didn't work at all, unfortunately. So what I ended up doing instead was she got locked in the room probably close to a month and a half. Poor thing. I brushed her every day. Well, first I kind of coated her fur in coconut oil. I brushed coconut oil into her fur. She didn't like that so much. And it didn't seem to help the way that I wanted it to, so I stopped that. But I brushed coconut oil into her fur because it's supposed to catch them and they can't really get out of it. But eventually, after trying a couple of different things, coconut oil, apple cider vinegar, trying to brush that stuff into the fur, I decided that what worked best was that I got a flea comb. I took a little container and I filled it with soapy water, specifically Dawn soapy water, and then I'd take a flea comb and I would just brush my cat every day. And whatever fleas and eggs that I could catch, I would put into that little bowl of soapy water. And then I would vacuum the room, all the little crevices and stuff that I could get to, on the parts of the bed that I could get underneath. I would vacuum every day to every other day. And then immediately dump the vacuum out away from the house. And then I would get apple cider vinegar spray and cedar oil spray. And Thieves. I sprayed Thieves a couple of times too. And I'd spray that on my bed, on my sister's bed, all over the room every day. And so after like a month and a half of that, eventually I could put new treatment on her. And so I did that, and the new treatment worked. But that method seemed to keep them at bay. I was seeing less fleas every day that I would brush. It didn't completely get rid of them, but I was seeing less of them every day. So if you guys are having issues with fleas, it's a lot of work. But if you can't like immediately get a flea treatment or something, then brushing and quarantining them in a certain space that you can clean really easily, and then vacuuming every day to every other day should keep the numbers down enough until you can get, you know, a flea treatment on them that works. Also, let's see, back when we had fleas in Newton, it got pretty bad for a little while there, but we finally managed to get it under control just before we moved. It was a lot of work, and I wasn't doing the same thing that I was doing this time, but that's one of the reasons that I immediately hit the ground running as soon as I saw fleas. Was I started trying different things, researching what worked, what didn't work, what other people suggested, and then coming up with my own kind of thing that seemed to work for me. But my rabbits never had fleas. You know, every once in a while I would spot one on them, but when I would go and search the rabbits and look through it, I wouldn't find any fleas. Like, the fleas just didn't like them. Occasionally I would find a tick on them for the ones that were on the ground or the ones that got loose, but never for very long. Those are easy. Ticks are easy to take care of. You just pull them off carefully. But my rabbits never had fleas. I never had an issue with them because they were on apple cider vinegar all year long. I put a splash of apple cider vinegar in their water, which is supposed to be good for an immune booster. It's supposed to be good for their fur. It makes their fur slightly more acidic, which fleas do not like. You know, and it's good for stuff like that. So my rabbits are on apple cider vinegar all year long. It also helps to drop the temperature of when water freezes. So it will freeze at it has to freeze at a lower temperature, which can be nice sometimes. And then usually it doesn't freeze completely solid, so it makes it easier for you to get the ice out of bowls sometimes. So yeah, I never had an issue with that, though it's harder to get my cats and dogs to drink apple cider vinegar water, but I think I know of a way that I want to try. When I butcher rabbits, we've decided that we like boiling them down, so we get broth and meat. Well, my cat likes the broth, and if I put a little bit of apple cider vinegar into the broth, then she's getting the apple cider vinegar and the broth, and so I think that will work if I can start doing that here soon. I want to get the big ice trays, and freeze the broth in those big chunks of ice, and then I can just pull one out and thaw it when I'm ready to feed her one. So that's a thought. I was just, I guess, a little side adventure that I had recently. Fortunately, I haven't spotted any fleas, but I should probably brush her again, and, you know, just every once in a while, brush the cat, brush the dog, and keep treatment on them, especially if you're out here and you let your animals out regularly, because you can't really do too much about the wild animals, but you can do some. I want to look up more natural flea treatments, but it's kind of hard to get certain flea treatments, especially for our dog, because he's like extra large, and finding an extra large one to treat him with is a little bit difficult, but it can be done. So anyways, that's just a small adventure that I had recently. I hope it might be a little bit informative to people who might be struggling with fleas, because they are horrendous. Honestly, they're a nightmare, and I apologize. They are a nightmare, but hopefully with some luck you can get them under control if you're struggling with them, or prevent them. There are nematodes. I don't remember which kind specifically, but there are specific nematodes that you can plant in your yard that are supposed to eat flea eggs and fleas, I think. I looked into it once, but not very far. So that could be something that you could look into at some point if you want to make sure there's no fleas in your yard. So, yep, there you go. Merry Christmas, Merry late Christmas to all y'all. And I hope things start picking up here soon. And we'll see you next week. Have a wonderful week, y'all.